I forgot my...
I'm calling to order the meeting of the Midcoast Community Council for August 28th. Before we move ahead, I want to extend a warm welcome to all the Midcoast residents who have come here and are spending their evening taking care of their community. And with that, I will ask the council members to introduce themselves.
Bob Klein,
Bill Kehoe,
Dan Haggerty,
Lynn Erickson,
Laura Stein.
Lisa Ketchum. Nicholas.
I'll introduce myself. Nicholas Calderon, Supervisor Horsley's office.
Who is now going to give us his report.
So I have a couple things to let everyone know about here. First, there were some brief conversations regarding a grant that the county was going to apply for a segment of what's known as the Parallel Trail. This segment would be in the southern sections of Miramar and El Granada. There's some complications with that program and the project being compatible with it. So the county chose to pass on that in favor for applying to the Transportation Authority's Measure A Bike and Pedestrian call for project, which will be coming out, or program which will be coming out in the next couple of months. That program has more money and it will be used to fund the planning and permitting for the same project, the Parallel Trail, which will be a recreation and multimodal trail for coastside residents. So it's not just going to be used for recreation, but it's also going to be used for commuters, for school children, for all of that. One of Supervisor Horsley's priorities has been providing the coastside with the infrastructure upgrades that have been asked for quite some time. So that's a priority for the supervisor, and so we're trying to move forward with that. Additionally, there was a meeting held this week with Senator Jerry Hill's office, Assemblyman Kevin Mullen's office, Caltrans, Supervisor Horsley, and the Midcoast Community Council. This meeting was held to discuss communications between Caltrans, the Supervisor's office, and the Midcoast Community Council. There have been a couple projects that have been done here on the coast side, and there was poor notification on Caltrans end. And so what we're trying to do is improve communication so that the community knows when Caltrans are going to do projects. Highway 1 is obviously extremely important for the community here. It's how you get in and out, and so when Caltrans goes and does projects on it, it affects everyone. So we want to make sure that people know when they're doing projects, as well as the county is looking to do some projects, specifically safe pedestrian crossings, raised medians, and left turn lanes. Supervisor Horsley and the county applied for grant money and received it, and so we will be starting that process now. There'll be 9 pedestrian crossings, 4 raised medians, and 2 left turn lanes throughout the Midcoast. They're currently in the process of developing a study, and when that study is completed, we will hold a public engagement process. So we will ask all of you to comment on the planning study. That actually is going to be discussed later on throughout the meeting, so hopefully all of you will be able to stay and learn about that. It's going to provide great opportunities for the Midcoast and the residents, and so we're very excited about it. Lastly, which is why I believe most of you are here, is the playground in Moss Beach. Supervisor Horsley is unable to make it tonight as he is attending a statewide conference out of town. The conference has been scheduled for several months now. So prior to him leaving earlier this week, the supervisor was briefed on the situation and was brought up to speed on all the information we had at that time. Since then, he has been briefed several times. I actually got off the phone with him about an hour ago. So Supervisor Horsley is being briefed throughout this entire process. The county is currently doing its due diligence in order to determine all the details around this, the tax sale of the parcel that contains the park. We understand that this is a time-sensitive matter. We understand that this is an extremely important matter to the community, and that's why we are working hard and trying to figure out all the information that we need, specifically why did this happen, and if anything, what can the county do to help. While we are working to determine what had happened, we are welcoming everyone to provide comments, questions, and concerns. Supervisor Horsley is receiving everyone's emails. We have received several phone calls at the office, and I am here tonight ready to take down all the comments and concerns, and from the looks of things, there are going to be quite a few. But once again, Supervisor Horsley is well aware of what is going on, and as I said, we're briefing him, and we just need to determine first what happened and what are we able to do. And so until we determine that, we won't be able to provide much information from there.
All right, thank you, Nicholas.
And thank you all for coming.
I'm going to move on to public comment. Because the information on Moss Beach Park, thank you very much, did not come to light until our agenda this evening was already published, we will ask you to comment at this point in time during public comment. Now, normally, the council may not discuss or take any action on issues during public comment. However, since Nicholas is here this evening, we'll make an exception, and you may address questions directly to Nicholas during your public comment. There's 3 guidelines I would like your help with so that everybody has an opportunity to speak. First one is if you would keep your comments to 3 minutes and include your questions during that 3 minutes to Nicholas. Please provide me, as it looks like everyone has, with a speaker slip. And I need all speakers to come up to the podium. If you speak from the audience, your voice sounds very garbled when there's a playback of the recording on television, and you can't make out what you're saying. And this is part of the public record, so I will need everyone to come up to the podium and use the microphone. And with that said, we'll begin with Neil Merrilees.
Thank you, Laura, for for volunteering for the MCC that we can come here.
Can you get representative people who want to speak up in the area?
Sure.
Bring everybody in?
We don't have an audio system here. This is just for the TV.
Okay.
So I'll turn it up.
Project. She was asking to see if the people could come in.
If the kids could come sit here on the floor in front.
Yeah, come sit on the floor. It's not often that we need a bigger venue for the MCC, but it's kind of nice that it happens.
We knew you would come over and pick the cake.
You can come on over.
Oh my goodness.
You can sit over by the windows.
Yeah, come on.
Just don't hit me, please.
Thanks.
That was a suggestion. Okay.
My name is Neil Merrilees. I'm a 20-year Moss Beach resident. I don't live in Moss Beach right now, but I love Moss Beach, and that's where my kids grew up, and that's where I met all my friends. And I met most of my friends at the Moss Beach Park. So when I found out about this last Wednesday afternoon, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I wanted to vomit. For the first 24 hours, I just thought there must be a mistake, and there must be somebody we can call and get this fixed, because there's got to be a bureaucratic error or something. And there still may be some recourse in that way. We're just kind of talking to the tax collector about notification procedure and stuff like that, and making sure everything was done properly. It kind of looks like it was, but I don't know everything about this situation, and I don't think there's anybody in the community that knows everything about this situation. But what I do know is the most important thing is that we have to keep the park. Somehow, with the county's help, with citizens' help. I'm not sure exactly how. It seems like the county is the big dog in this fight, and this park is so little, yet so important. We know that it sold for, I think, $96,000, was that it? And there were $8,400 worth of back taxes. We actually get everything refunded except the $8,400. So really, we lost it for $8,400. And if the seller magically decided to give it back to us for the same amount, it would be only $8,400. And that may not happen, but we ought to at least explore every alternative. If there's a little bit more money needed, it can't be very much for a community that needs a park as much as we do in Moss Beach. And not only is it just a community park for our kids, but it's kind of a symbol of what neighbors can do when they get together and they work hard and they can create something. Sometimes you go to meetings and you just argue back and forth and nothing happens. And at the Moss Beach Park, we argued back and forth and we created an unbelievable park. It was a magical occurrence. It's why I went into local politics, because I thought, oh my God, this can happen. People can do things. We can build things together. So by hook or by crook, I think we can fix this. I think we need the help of the county. Like I say, we don't know exactly what happened. I know a lot of people are angry. Since I have known about this for a week now, which isn't very long, it happened a month ago. And I guess the notices started happening maybe a couple of years ago. But it's new to everybody. To some people that have only heard about it 24 hours ago, they're probably really, really angry. And I'm still a little bit angry too. But mostly I just want to solve the problem. And I would just ask everybody in Moss Beach and the whole community that put in their time and money to this park to please help us go in the right direction to get the park back. And after we get the park back, let's figure out exactly what happened. And we were trying to figure out exactly what happened now, but we may not know that in the next week or two. And we need to get the park back quickly. So Nicholas, please convey our best wishes to Don and ask him politely and respectfully for as much help as we can get. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. Michael Medlin.
I'll keep my comments brief. I'm a 4-year resident of Montara, father of 2 young boys. When I found out about this, thanks Neil for alerting people on Montara Fog. It was a great service. So I don't have much to say other than the park is really important to me, really important to my children. It was one of the reasons we moved here. So I think we as a community, those of us in government need to do everything we can to preserve it, whether it's money, whatever happens. We need to do what we can to mobilize and resolve the issue. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Verlander? I'm not pronouncing it correctly.
Verlander?
Verlander?
This is a poster from when the park was made. My name's Mark Verlander. I've been a Montara resident for, I don't know, over 10 years. I was there when we rebuilt that park 9 years ago next month. And I just want to say that I'm pretty emotional. I just heard about it yesterday, and so to just vent briefly, it's amazing that something like this could happen. It's unbelievable. And so I don't want to place blame, but it has to be found out what went on. That the tax collector ever let this happen is just amazing to me. This park, it was built with the money and sweat of families in this community and many people in this room when we couldn't find a way or funding by other means. It was done by this community, and I would say hundreds, possibly 400 people came together over 3 days after many months of planning and built that park. And I just want to say that for all people involved in this issue, there is right and there's wrong. And we all know what is right and wrong and what we would do. And the one thing that can never be wrong is a public park for children. That's never wrong. It's always right. And that park, by all means, is public. It should never be for sale. And we need to make sure that whatever's done now is made right by the people who know what's right to do. And that's all the parties involved. And once that's done, it needs to be made permanently a public park so that this can never happen again. It's just amazing. And so I want to thank you for your time, Nicholas, and for the commission for hearing us today. And I think I speak for many people in this community in saying we want to get this resolved quickly. The right thing should be done, and it shouldn't involve money changing hands. It should be the right thing that's done here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Debbie McKinney. That sounds good. And then Bruce will be next.
As long as you're up.
My name is Debbie McKimmey. I've lived in Moss Beach for 25 years. I was part of the group that Mark spoke about to help build the park. It is a vital part of the community, and mistakes were made, but that doesn't mean we can't correct those mistakes. And I would like to urge all aspects of the county, which I know there's supervisors, there's the tax collector, there's the various agencies that don't necessarily coordinate. But I would like for the county to do all of those things and coordinate, to do everything in their power to correct this mess. The park is, the park itself is beautiful. If you haven't been there, you should go. Each of you here, and you as well, Nicholas. But as Mark and Neil said, the spirit and community effort to make it happen is the most beautiful thing. So I would urge the county to do everything, every possible thing in their power, and we are here to help you with that. Take my name, I'll give you my phone number, I will do whatever it is that it takes that I can do to make this correction. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie. Go ahead, Bruce, and Eric Watts will be after Bruce. Calisthenics.
Maybe we should have the kids sit this way so that the people have a path to them.
Somebody take that seat. There's a seat right there.
Thank you.
Yeah, someone can sit here.
Hi, my name's Bruce McKimmey, Moss Beach resident for coincidentally 25 years. I too was part of the great park build where I met all these fabulous people and more. There's so many more that aren't here. It was a terrific event that was just mind-blowing to be a part of it from the start and the finish as well. Things fell through the cracks. All the evidence or whatever, the truths are going to come out eventually during the process of saving Moss Beach Park. And that's why we're all here, to save Moss Beach Park. You can go to change.org and sign a petition. There's also another site that somebody else is going to speak about, Friends of Moss Beach Park. I'm here to ask you all, the MCC, the Board of Soups, you know, let's get Jerry Brown on the horn. I know he likes parks. Help us save Moss Beach Park, please. Failure's not an option, and I'll say that again. Failure is not an option. Let's help us all together save Moss Beach Park. Thank you.
Eric, I'm sorry, you're here, and
You
I'll
already
just,
announced me.
I'll let Audrey.
You're ready to go.
Can't go back.
You're too fast.
You're committed.
Who's next in queue?
Audrey Patchett.
I am Eric Watts. Thank you for hearing us today. I was on the park build 9 years ago. I dug out one of my favorite T-shirts from 9 years ago and wore it tonight. I'm also part of the new group, Friends of Moss Beach Park, that we'd really like to see have the park saved. The park build 9 years ago was a very special, almost magical event that happened in our community. literally hundreds of people of our community got together to spend their time, lend their tools, give a little bit of money from everybody to pay for that park that took a week to build. It wasn't 3 days, it was a whole week. It was this very special thing that happened in our community, and as Neil said, it's a symbol not only for the kids, but for all ages of our community, something that we could do. We had a byline on that park. It was imagined by children and built by community. And it indeed was built by the community, and it deserves to stay part of our community. So thank you very much. And thank you guys all for being here.
Thank you. Audrey Patrick? No, oh, there's Audrey. And after Audrey will be Mary Kate Meyerhoff.
Hi, I'm Audrey. I'm a resident of Moss Beach, and I just found out about the park yesterday. Devastated. My kids go play there almost every day. And so I'm here as a concerned community member. I want to understand how it happened. And we have a really strong community of parents and kids in the community, and we could have easily fixed this problem had we known about it. So I just want to understand what went wrong. And I want to just volunteer myself to be able to help fix the problem. And I also want to understand why this park isn't just part of San Mateo or some sort of government jurisdiction. I don't understand why it owed back taxes in the first place, and I would love to be able to fix that.
Thank you. Mary Kate, and following that will be Ann Green.
Hi, I'm Mary Kate Meyerhofer. 10 years ago, I sat here with the MCC and asked you guys if you would help us build a playground. In the end, we decided to do it ourselves. We thought it was quicker and a great way to do it. We started recruiting people. We got a few people together, and then that spread and spread. We brought in a group to help us and to guide us through the process. For those who don't know about the process, I'm just going to tell you a little bit about it, because it was probably one of the most incredible things I've been a part of. The volunteer group grew. We went into the schools. The children in the schools designed the park. They drew pictures of what they wanted this park to be. They drew surfboards, they drew castles, they drew their imagination. And that night in Fair Lawn View, the architect showed these children what this park was going to look like. I can't tell you, the gym was full of people. Every parent was there. We left that night knowing we had 1 year to raise the money. We had a lot of bake sales. We had a lot more bake sales than $8,700 worth of bake sales. We had bake sales, we sold things, we did everything we could. We brought together so many people in the community to build this. It took a year out of my life. Endless phone calls, the community just coming together to be a part of this. I've never been a part of anything like this. This is not just a playground, this was a community. There are friends here that never would have met each other. There are people who are still friends. There's so many new people here with kids who love this park. It can't go away this easily. I know that mistakes were made. It really should never have been left in the hands of a couple of volunteers. That's all it was a couple people in the community volunteering to try to make this park go on. Please, you have to help us. Thank you.
Excuse me, ma'am. I'm sorry, can I get your name?
Yeah, it's Mary Kate Meyerhofer. I was co-chair of the park.
Sorry, we're sending a sign-in sheet around.
So if everybody can
Okay.
sign it while they're here, show support.
I was a Montera resident since 1996, and I just moved away last year.
Okay. Yeah, sorry for talking at the beginning, by the way. Yeah, so a sign-in sheet will be going around so we can get everyone's name, and thank you very much, ma'am.
Ann, hello, and next will be Ben Forcini.
Hi, I'm Ann Gennady Green, and I grew up a couple blocks from the park in Moss Beach. I lived there for 22 years until I went away to college, and my parents still live in Moss Beach. Recently, my husband and I moved back to Half Moon Bay after swearing I would never move to the coast again. My memories of the park are much different than all of yours. My mom was one of the very first board members of the Moss Beach Park in 1990, probably, when I was a little kid. And I grew up with that park. I remember when it was an empty lot next to Dan's restaurant, and it was just a giant tractor tire and swings. There are murals on that back wall that my friends and I painted when they opened it up to the community. If you want to go see them, mine's the one with the little fish all over it. It's really hard for me to stand here and know that my kids may not have the opportunity to play in this park that was such a huge part of my life growing up. When I take my kids to my parents' house, even though it's 15 minutes away from me, I want to know that they're going to have somewhere safe to play, because there's not a whole lot of places on the coast. Highway 1 is not safe. Kids can't cross the highway by themselves. And that's a place for them to go and have a place to be safe and have their friends there and all hang out together. And so I really hope that the misallocation or misappropriation of funds or whatever happened can be overlooked and fixed, and that the community can come together again, because it would be such a loss and a detriment to the history of the city, to the history of this community, to lose that giant park. I mean, it's such a big part of the community, and I don't think that the tax collector, whoever ended up, at fault here, whether it was on purpose or not, I don't think they realize what a big part of the community that place really is. So I'm hoping that they can really come together and fix this problem, and I know that everyone in this room would be willing to do the same.
Thank you. Ben Forcini, and following Ben will be Chris Hammerstrom.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you for this meeting. I wish it was on a happier occasion. And 37 years ago, I was brought to the coast. And I'm speaking for my children now and the families right here, that what type of message is the San Mateo County putting out there for children? Is it to be electronic gadgets, or is it to promote open space and opportunities for kids to have fun, relax, and be in a safe environment? I have a tile in the park. Everyone had a part of it. We've seen the tires, we've seen the skateboard ramps, and to see what transpired today is pretty horrendous, or a month ago. And I see all these little ones around here. They're here for them, for their parents, or their grandparents, their kids. And the coast is missing parks, it's missing open space, it's missing recreation, and we're taking that away. And if it's not us, it's a developer from some other city, Pacifica, trying to take something from this community, which we vitally need. And I think there's everyone in this room here to do their part to try to bring it back. And it's a shame that $9,500 or $8,500 can really spoil the world for this community. There's not too many parks here, especially as we travel up the coast. That's why I have the Midcoast Council to represent El Granada, Moss Beach, Montera. Half Moon Bay has parks. We don't really have any parks. So please help, because we need it.
Thank you.
Chris Hammerstrom, and following that will be Kate Hendel.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Chris Hammerstrom, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak in front of you today. I've been a Coastside resident for 17 years, and I've lived in Montero for 9. My son Reese has graduated from Half Moon Bay High School, and my daughter's in 5th grade going to Fairlawn View. And moving to the Coastside was a lucky choice for me, because we have a special culture, a special fabric that connects all of us together. Then I got the opportunity to become a part of Moss Beach Park. So I'm wearing an orange t-shirt that was only given to construction captains that had the responsibility for not only building a quadrant of the park, but they had to make sure that all the volunteers were safe. And they had to make sure that everything was put away at the end of the day and everything was clean. And I felt a sense of responsibility for that. There was one day where Cisco Systems volunteered 200 people to come to the park and work. There was some other organizations that don't come to mind, but there was quite a bit of visibility in building the park. And it was, and I'll echo many of the sentiments here, it built friendships that have grown into magical moments for me. So that was a week of sweat equity, 14 hours a day, every day. I took a week off of work to be there. I invested $2,500 into one of the apparatuses so that park can be what it is today. And I didn't do it mainly for my son or my daughter. I did it because we need more places for kids to play safely on the coast side. And it was sort of a down payment that I wanted to make to my community because I really love where we live. And I think what happened today, or what happened in this transaction, was it was a parcel PIN number and nobody knew what was associated with it. It was a number and there wasn't a description and there's a lot of volume and it just went through the system. And I do believe that if somebody knew it was a park, the county supervisors and the council would do the appropriate due diligence that would have been required because it's a park and not a residence or something else. I think that it deserves a different classification, and it didn't get that in the parcel number. So I would reach out and ask the council, the city council, to please take this seriously and to please do something for us because there's not enough parks on the coast side and we need this one very badly. Thanks.
Kate, following yourself will be Roberta Vespremi.
I'm Kate Handel, and I've lived on the coast in Moss Beach for 12 years and was for a few afternoons part of the build group that created the park, even before my husband and I had our children. We were impressed by the energy and the efforts that were taking place and wanted to do our part in advance. And we've spent many hours at the park. It's fun. And I can't applaud Mary Kate and others enough for what they did to organize and move forward with a great, wonderful thing despite how hard it must have been. I have no idea what may have happened, but I do feel that the Moss Beach Park deserves to be important enough for the county to care about. I feel as though it deserves status similar to what I see happening at Fitzgerald Marine Reserve, where there are people paying attention, people taking care of it, people making sure that people are not destroying things there. People enjoy that place, and they enjoy Moss Beach Park. And I think that as a community that has invested so much energy, effort, and money into creating it, the least that the county could do is respect it and not destroy it. So I look forward to hearing progress, hopefully soon.
Thank you. Roberta Vespremi, and following you will be Chris Johnson.
Hi, good evening, Council, Nicholas. Thank you for opening your doors to a lot of people tonight. I just wanted to echo what everyone else has been saying here. And unfortunately, I've only been a resident of Moss Beach for 4 years, and I didn't have the opportunity to participate in this amazing effort that took place 9 years ago. But it's about community, and that's what everyone is saying, and that's something that's so special about the coastside and being here is being part of this community. And to lose the park would be a great loss to the community fabric. And I would just ask that everyone do what they can to save it. And Nicholas, can I just ask if you've been in touch with the purchaser at all, or has anyone been in touch with the purchaser?
I am not sure.
I believe Neil has.
Okay. All right. Great, thanks.
Hello, my name is Chris Johnson. I'm a resident of El Granada for 11 years. And I'm in the kind of the second wave. All these people paid it forward and built this park. I came along in 2007, my son was born, and we were there. We were there every day almost. I mean, loving that place. Wood chips and that asphalt area with all the vehicles that people donate. So I'm here to pay it forward for the next generation. I want to build on what Roberta said, which is that park is a symbol of the Moss Beach community, but it's also a symbol of the coastside community. And it's also a symbol of the concept of community, and I would say that isn't that why most of us enjoy living here? The concept of the communities that we have, Montera, Moss Beach, El Granada, even La Mirada. These are communities, and that park, forget symbol, that park is a touchstone for the coastside community, and like I said, the concept, the Big C community, and all these people, all this emotion. What else can be said? I'm so glad that Nicholas is here, and I have faith that this will get fixed. I really do, and I'm not a guy that's blindly faithful about much. I usually see the glass. My slogan is my glass is half empty. But I really feel strongly that Supervisor Horsley is going to do what he can to help us with this. I believe it was a legitimate series of mistakes, but we will fix this. It will get fixed. I really strongly believe that, and I hope that everybody can summon that positive energy and focus on the positive moving forward, and again, think of that Big C community. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Kirsten Barron, and then Catherine Carter Slater. Carter.
Thank you for taking time to hear a lot of us. I've been a resident of Montera since 2002, and I joined the park committee for selfish reasons, so I can meet the girl up the street to have a friend. And I ended up with 100 friends, and those people have become my village. And at the heart of this village is this park, and people that come together, neighbors and business folks and children that dream up ideas and people that turn those ideas into structures. And that's exactly what this community is all about. And it's what I love about living here, and it's what you can't find anywhere else. And in order to save this park, it's not something we can do by ourselves. We need your help to do it. It's going to take everybody to do that. So thank you for any help you can give us in getting our park back. So, thank you. Thank you.
Catherine? No? Lisa Gilmore?
Wait, she's not
Is she out there? Oh.
I was going to say, you think Catherine's going to miss a chance to talk? Nice try.
And Lisa Gilmore will be next.
Hello, Catherine Slater Carter, and first I want to acknowledge everybody who took their time out to be here and brought your kids to be part of this public process. I think that's part of what makes this community so special, as somebody was mentioning earlier. I am president of the Water and Sanitary District of Montera Water and Sanitary District. And I say that, I'll introduce myself a little bit more. I raised my kids here. My son is 33. There was very little in the way of parks. And the vacant lots that the kids used to be able to play on have all been gone. They're covered with houses or fences or whatever. And my discussions with the county have been going on about parks and the need for places for our kids have been going on for years and years and years. Because, as one aide to a member of the Board of Supervisors said, well, the county can't provide urban services. And I said, but you're urbanizing our areas. You need to provide services. And I got told they couldn't do that. And our community came together. It was so exciting. I worked for a day on the project, and I keep telling people about what a wonderful community this is. make our own park. We've created our own water district successfully, 10 years as a water district, I will note. And so that will bring me to, in the water code, there is a section that says a water district can have areas for recreation and recreation lands that are associated with the water district and the water supply. That's how things like Lexington Reservoir are owned and operated by water districts. There are water districts in the south that have outdoor theaters for their community and recreation and so on. I have not brought this up with the rest of our board. We're having a special meeting at Montero Water and Sanitary District tomorrow night, and I would love for our district to be able to work with this community, with our community, to get the park back for the district. I had been talking to Neil about the possibility that we could put some kind of water or sewer facilities underground at the park so we could take over the ownership of it. So this kind of problem wouldn't come up, and this was as much of a shock to me as it is to anyone. However, I'd like to move forward and get this land back. I'd like to find a way that we can get it in the ownership of Montero Water and Sanitary District and possibly look at other areas in the community. There are parks areas in the back of Montero that were sold to Caltrans. They're still designated as parks. I have a meeting with Senator Jerry Hill's office next week to talk about trying to get those back for our community, and I would love to have community support on this. So I believe that with all the energy and passion and just the outright grit and intelligence of this community, we can do it, and we can turn this into a win for all of us. But it's a terrible shock. Thank you very much for coming.
Lisa Gilmore, and following that, Storm Russell.
I need my support crew. Lisa Gilmore, Montero resident for almost 20 years now. When we finally completed the park, these guys were 3 and 5, prime age to enjoy it, and they enjoyed it thoroughly. They're still enjoying it today. These guys are over there skating, playing basketball, hanging out on the picnic benches. It's still our park, and it will continue to be our park. I just hope that we get to the bottom of whatever happened, but more importantly, we look forward, and I hope that we could have our park taken over by the county. You go over the hill, there are county parks as far as the eye can see. This is all we have. So I would just hope that that might be a consideration in the future. Thank you.
Following Storm Russell will be Tracy Yerby.
Good evening, and thank you all, and thank you for your public service, and please thank the supervisor for his attention. My name is Storm Russell. I'm a 15-year resident of the coast and a 13-year resident of Moss Beach. I'm here with my sons, Sterling and Sage Russell. They have used the park. We helped build the park. Their handprints are on that park. That park is a part of them. I'm hoping that we can see this changed. The fact is, this was a wonderful public-private result. Here you had the public come together and take care of things that the public sector was not willing to do. And so the money was raised and the park was built and largely maintained. I and my sons and the Cub Scout pack that we are members of have been part of the maintenance. And so there's a lot of community investment. And this was a wonderful example of what a community can do and would continue to do. With regard to the supervisor, please, what are our options? What is the time frame? Of course, everybody wants to know what took place. But lastly, please work so that the Board of Supervisors changes whatever ordinance is necessary to avoid this happening again. Because if this park is lost, there will be a tremendous loss of faith in the public government. There will be a heart that will be there for a long time. If the park is retained, there will be tremendous gratitude and appreciation for a long time. Thank you.
Tracy Yerby, and following that will be Deborah Hurst.
Hi, I'm Tracy Yerby. I'm a 15-year resident of Montera. My son and daughter are now a freshman and a sixth grader. I will say that I only spent 3 hours working on the park. I didn't know all my best friends when my son was in kindergarten. I shoveled chip for 3 hours. But I will say that I spent countless hours watching my kids play in the park, run through the park, play tag in the park, and now play basketball and hang out at the park. I can only reiterate what other people have said about a sense of community. This is our community, and that park is our community. And without the people here, and someone said that there were 400 or so people that contributed to building that park. Think about how many people live in Montera and Moss Beach. It's not that much more than that. So it was a majority of people that built that park, and I'm sure that there is a way that we can rectify this situation, later figure out what happened, but spend our time, please, getting this park back to our community as soon as possible. My kids probably aren't going to play there anymore, but all these kids who are here and all the people who are moving to Moss Beach and Montera because of our community, they will play in that park. Thanks.
Deborah Hurst. We'll move on to Julia Ferdinand. And someone please mention if they see Deborah.
Hi, my name is Julia Ferdinand. I'm a Moss Beach resident of 11 months. And we moved up here. My husband took a job at the high school, and we were excited to move up here because we were searching for a community. And when we first got to the park, and I have a 5-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son who are running around here currently playing with electronics, I'd much rather have them in the park. When we first went down to Moss Beach Park, which my kids affectionately refer to as Pirate Ship Park, they were so excited. They'd never seen a park like it. And I fell in love with the fact that this was a park built by a community, and it just reaffirmed everything I knew about moving up to this community in the first place. Sorry. And we appreciated the local businesses that have become involved with the park. We frequent those businesses because of their involvement in things like this and because they're so community driven. The people, I'm really not surprised to see the people here tonight because some of these people have become our friends in such a short period of time, and it does not surprise me that they were involved in building this park. So I just really want to impress upon everybody that this park is important, and it's the reason that people do come to this area. It's the reason that people move here. It's the reason people want to stay here. And for me, it's a reason to fight. You know, my daughter made a sign. She can't believe that there's a chance that our park could go away. And I don't want to see that happen. And if I have to give up time from work and whatever it takes to make it stay and continue to be a part of the community, then that's what I'm going to do. So please let me know if there's anything I can do. And thank you for your time.
Next is Chris Eckerberg. And following that is Patty, but I can't quite make out Laura Tren? Laurenton, thank you. You'll be next.
Hi, my name is Chris Eckberg. I'm a 20-year resident, and I have a 6-year-old daughter, and we love the park. I was a member of the Gummy Pigs, which is our group, the Coastside Mothers Club, and we probably met there 3 days a week. I saw my kid and 12 others sneeze, cough, crawl, walk, jump, swing, and to this day. And to lose that part would just be horrible. It'd be like ripping our heart out. And I just think that if there's any way to make this work with this great community that's here and the support there is, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
following Patty will be Barbara Capers.
Hi, everybody. I'm Patty Lawrenson. I just want to say thank you to everybody who built the park, first off, because the passion in the room is really palpable, and we love the park too. My kids love the park. I'm a resident of Moss Beach for 10 years. We moved here right as we started hearing about the park being built, and it affirmed why we were moving to Moss Beach. I also wanted to let you know that I sit on the board of directors for the Coastside Mothers Club. The Mothers Club comprises 300 families on the coast, and if you multiply that out with husbands and kids, we represent about 1,200 people. We have 16 active playgroups that use the 3 parks on the coast side. Moss Beach Park is definitely one of them. It's well loved, and I was told by our president and vice president to sort of underscore our love for our parks, to relate to you that in the last couple of years, we raised $65,000 to repair Ocean View Park, just to upgrade it and make it more safe for our kids. We also do volunteer cleanups at the park, and it's just a regular place for us to hang out. So I don't know if there's anything my daughter would like to say. She wanted to say something earlier, but Lily, would you like to say anything about the park? She wanted to say thank you for the park. Please help us save the park. And we'd also like to know what happened and why. I think my very last point would probably be, you know, if it turns out that the community has to pay to reclaim the park, I think you can see that we will, but I would hope that it doesn't go that route. I would hope that whoever, you know, however this happened, we can find out who's responsible and hold them accountable. I know there's funds missing, so, you know, if that is in fact the case, then, you know, certainly we'd like to see that as part of the reparation of this situation. Thank you.
After Barbara will be Christy Matheny.
Hi, I'm Barbara Capers, and I've been a resident of Moss Beach for 18 years. I helped build the park like most of the people in the room, and my children have been playing at that park since they were very young. They're both teenagers now, and they still use the park regularly. They play basketball, and it's a safe place for them to go. And, you know, I'm just part of the group that wants to save the park and see that the county can help us somehow save it and take it over somehow so that something like this wouldn't happen. So just please help us save our park. Thank you.
Christy Matheny? I don't know if I'm saying it. No, Christy. Okay, we'll go on to Dylan Ragozin. And following that will be Leonard Warren.
Hi everyone, my name is Dylan Ragozin. I am a father of 2 girls living in Montera. Wanted to say thank you to everyone. It's really, really evident, echoing everyone said, the love for the park, and also just say thank you for those who made it possible. We moved to Montera 5 years ago and didn't get a chance to contribute into the park building, but I'm not embarrassed to say that I'm a happy user of the park, and I think there are a lot of users in the community who don't even necessarily contribute. We're free riders here, and you know, happy that it's there. And it would really be a shame for the park to go away. I mean, think, you know, if you imagine the support that's here tonight, there are so many people who don't even know about it. I found out about it at 6 o'clock tonight when I came home from work, and you know, I feel like I'm relatively informed. I do happen to sit in a shell sometimes, but I gotta believe there's a lot of other folks who are users who would echo their support for the park. We've heard people refer to the park by their own pet names. It's the Pirate Ship Park. For our daughters, it's the Mermaid Playground. Everyone else has their own names for it. And you ask our kids what they want to do on a day, and usually the top thing that comes out of their mouth is, can we go to the Mermaid Playground? Want to go to the beach? No, no, no. I want to go to the Mermaid Playground. Okay. There are not a lot of options. People have talked about it. Fairlawn View has a great playground, you know, for people in Montera, but it's not open during school hours. That's a real, you know, real detriment. We don't have that space that's available and accessible to the community when people want it. I see adults there hanging out, and people have talked about meeting their friends there, and I think it's true. It's a community place, and you know, the kids go off and play. Adults sit around the picnic tables or just sort of casually at the front, and I'm sure many people have met friends there. For me personally, it's sort of bizarre how this could happen, and I have a slight curiosity, but that's really a back burner. I just want to make sure that we get the park back. I don't really care so much about the details or the politics or the absences of judgment or oversight to know why and how it happened. Let's just get it back, and let's just understand enough to make sure it doesn't happen again. Thanks again.
Leonard, and following Leonard will be Jim Harvey.
A lot of good comments. So I have some comments on related issues. In terms of the long term, because we have to have faith that somehow the county's going to fix this and get the park back. And so then the question is how to make sure this doesn't happen again. Well, either the county is going to take ownership of it. I suspect not. The other alternative is to, one way or another, get it transferred to the only other government agency in town, which is MWSD, and have MWSD lease it back to the Friends Group on a similar model that was done with a Quarry Park and MPL. Lease it back to the Friends Group for $1 a year and let them run the park, but with MWSD having ownership of it, there's no property taxes, don't have to worry about the P.O. box not getting paid and not getting notices, and this could never happen again once it's in that public ownership.
What about liability insurance? Could you repeat her question just so that
the question is, what about liability insurance? I don't know the answer to that, and I don't want to speculate. Talk to me offline. I'll tell you a little bit more. In kind of the definition of irony, with all the people here tonight, what's on the agenda later tonight to ask the Midcoast Council to support the Granada Sanitary District's application to reorganize as a community services district, so that this district, which this meeting room, Granada Sanitary District rents this meeting room as our boardroom, so that we can do Parks and Rec. And hopefully we'll get support from more than just the people within the district. As to how did this happen, one of the major contributing factors here is the government conspiracy. And yeah, I frequently have this running gag with our district general manager that I say Oswald didn't act alone. There's a government conspiracy to hide things from the public. And how is that implemented? It's these APN-only notices and transactions. The process needs to be changed, that there are no APN-only transactions. The location, preferably with a street address if one exists, has to be attached to every single transaction. When I took office in the Granada Sanitary District 16 years ago, I had to fight with our administrator and two of the other directors, the other two that got elected with me when we took over the board in 1997, we had to fight with the administrator to get the addresses on the agenda for permits that we were issuing. She did not want to put the addresses on there. And that's one of the reasons she's gone. So the county needs to change the procedure so that nothing like this can ever happen again. If people see the notice in the newspaper, they would know what property it applied to, but who knows APNs?
Thank you, Leonard. Jim Harvey, and following Jim will be Sid Young.
That's going to be a hard act to follow, but Jim Harvey, been on the coast side for 30 years, and just to echo two things, that the park is a very extremely unique place. There's no other park like it that I've ever seen, and also echo the request to tell the supervisors that the people here would be willing to make good that financial sum that was that lost. I mean, this is evident that wouldn't be a problem. And as a member of the Montero Water Sanitary District, I would support. I'll support any help we can give for water sewer, and we'll make good on that. Thank you very much.
Following Sid will be Robert DeLaramere. Oh, sorry.
Close. Sid Young, or official tax APN is assessor's parcel number, but as a resident, I'm listed under Carlisle Ann Young, my legal name, but everybody knows me as Sid. thank you all for having such a lengthy public comment period. I know it wasn't on the agenda, but thanks for everybody else who showed up because this is an important community issue. I guess my number one comment is to make to Nicholas to take back to Supervisor Horsley that we need help with the county steering us through the process of trying to get the park back into the title of something other than an investor. And as Leonard pointed out, a lot of these things are noticed online through bidforassets.com, and they are by assessor's parcel number. Unless you're a realtor like me, you may not know how to look up in the county maps system because the parcel number is keyed to a plat map. You can look it up online, but you can also go down to the county in Redwood City and find the information there. However, that being said, there was some kind of weird, a lot of different events that caused it not to be noticed properly to interested parties. So that's why we really would need Supervisor Horsley. And I don't know how soon this could get cleared up to get a clear title on it again, but I know they're redesigning districts, and hopefully, he will still be our supervisor. But right now, I know he represents the entire county, but eventually it will become a district by district voting. Maybe he'll get reelected that way and he'll still be able to help us, but it would be a good campaign thing if he was able to help us.
That's not blackmail, is it?
No, that's one of my talking points. It's a positive for Supervisor Horsley. So I understand. I went to one little meeting last night. I don't have kids, but a lot of the people in the room, I've seen their kids come by to see my goats in Seal Cove. So, I do get to know a lot of families with kids, and I realize that it's a big community asset to have a kid park here, because most incorporated cities like Half Moon Bay, they have city-run parks, and out here we don't. We have the Marine Reserve, but that's a visitor-serving park, and there's a lot of strangers coming and going from there. If I did have kids, I might be a little concerned to take them to a place like that, because you have to worry about the safety of your kids nowadays, and that's really close to the sheriff's substation down there. So if I were a parent, I'd have a less concern to have my kid playing at that park. But like San Carlos and a lot of really fabulous cities on the peninsula, San Mateo, they all have great parks, but we don't have those kind of services out here. So as my understanding was, it was a community-funded park, and it was donated by the owner of the house that burned down on that parcel. So it was supposed to remain a park. That was my understanding. I could be wrong. But the community not only supported the park, but they also funded and built the play structures. So I think that's an important factor here to help out the community, because the county actually has an investment in this too. My understanding is way back when Dave Holland was the parks director for the county, they were working on getting us some bathrooms in that park, and they're still being stored by the county. So, I guess there was some architectural issues that it didn't get taken care of yet, but now it's kind of a moot point until we get back the clear title. So I would like to mention something that Catherine Slater-Carter mentioned and Leonard brought up briefly, and that is that both Montero Water and Sanitary District and the Granada Sanitary District that serves the unincorporated coast side have the possibility to have parks powers. So I know that there's an upcoming LAFCO review to maybe consolidate everything, which most of the Midcoast doesn't want to be part of Half Moon Bay and share in all those things. But if we keep with the same sanitary districts, so we could get parks powers, then they could, supervise something out on the Burnham Strip, or have their parks powers here in Montero take care of the Moss Beach Park. And I'm not sure about the water situation, if the water connection will pass with the title, but that was a big issue just to get water down there, was my understanding, right, Neil? So that, to me, that's a big issue. But last thing I wanted to mention is it was really nice when the meetings used to be at Seton Coastside. As you can see, there's people standing in the kitchen, in the file cabinet room, out in the hall. I was standing by the window because it's so hot, but you can't hear anything with the traffic going by. This room does not have the right capacity. I'm sure the fire department were here, they'd say so. And anyway, I just like to say that I am an advocate for a lot of the community issues in Moss Beach, and Montera and the coastline in general. So I'd like to pitch in if we can get this done. I'll work with you. I'll come over to see Supervisor Horsley if need be and put me down. Thank you.
Following Robert will be Ken Howell. Robert, say your last name for me once again.
Delormier.
Thank you.
My name is Robert Delormier. I've been living on the coast for about 5 years and Moss Beach for about 4. And I regularly take my kids. I have a daughter and a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and we live just across the street. So I'm not going to try to repeat all the things that other people have said, but I just wanted to kind of point out something that I've always found interesting when I went there. When I go to the park, there's regularly couples who are there trying the park out. They're coming from other parts of the state and other parts of the country, actually. I've had people coming from New York State, people coming from Ohio, people coming from San Francisco, going to that park specifically because Yelp gave it a great rating. It's a very important part of our city. And people who have children are thinking, well, if I stay here, where are my kids going to go? Where am I going to have a place that's safe for them to play, where they can meet friends, where they can have their buddies, where they can hang out, and they're not going to be in trouble, where it's fun. I mean, it has the rides, it has the castle, and it's something that is a real asset to this particular part of the world. So if we lose it, those people are going to go somewhere else. They're not going to bother to go here because where are they going to put their kids? As someone had mentioned earlier, I mean, all the lots that the children want to play in are taken up. So where are they going to go? Thank you.
Thank you. Following Ken Howell will be Sandra Ryan.
Good, I'm glad I'm not last. I wasn't planning to speak tonight, but hearing people brought back some memories, and there's a few things that I have to say that I don't think have been brought up yet. I've been a resident of Montera since 1998, and I've got a 17-year-old and a 14-year-old. So my daughter was born here, and you guys remember what the place used to look like before? I mean, it was blighted and dangerous, but we used it anyway because that was what we had. And you heard about what a profound experience it was for us to build it. I'd forgotten, but I spent the night before the build in a trailer with my son. Might be the only one that camped on there. No one else would do it, I guess. And it was pretty cool. And then, a lot of very skillful people, like these construction captains, they got the cool jobs. And I didn't know if I could get off work, so I got this job that was like a meet and greet. I mean, it was very organized. So when people came onto the job, they didn't want you just walking in. And what I saw, I will never forget, the diversity of the people that came. Please write that down, because there was also, I am bilingual, and there were Hispanics that came, and they used that park. And I got to talk to them and tell them, okay, here we go. You're going to start doing this, doing that, and then I walk away and help somebody else in English. But it is astonishing to see Ben, I remember you forgot the Ritz at the time was involved. You're talking about the businesses that participated, the individuals, the schools, the community that poured their heart and soul into that park. It's unimaginable to think of losing this. And let's expedite fixing it, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Sandra Ryan, and I wish I could say I was here because I wanted to come here today. I got a frantic call from my 8-year-old at work who said they're taking my park away. And I had to rush home, feed them dinner, and at his urgency, hurry up and be here by 7 o'clock. So I'm here with my children who have grown up in Montera and at the park every day. I work full-time. I have a nanny who doesn't drive, and it's the only park she can get to. She takes the 17 bus and has taken my kids to the park since Diego was born. And I lived on the coast side in 2000 when the park was being built, and I didn't have children at the time. But my great friends Jim and Sandy Stretch helped build the park as well. And they had 3-year-old twins at the time. And I've taken them to the park. So it is, like everybody has said, a part of the community that we just really cannot part with. And you have a whole community that will do anything. And I urge you to please help us save this park. And I think my son wanted to say something.
Help us save the park.
Nothing.
I have two people who didn't come when they were called, Christy Matheny and Deborah Hurst. Do they happen to be here? Oh, okay, very good. Nicholas, probably one of the most important things right now is they're going to want to know what happens next. And what's going through my mind is, number one, there probably needs to be some sort of, how do I say, lead or head in terms of communications. So there is one person people can go to be updated, or 2 or 3, whatever. The second thing is, and I haven't discussed this with the council, but I can't imagine they would argue, is that I could see us sponsoring a special meeting for when Supervisor Horsley is ready to address the group. Do you have any ideas on timeframes here?
No. First, I want to thank everyone for coming. Also, it appears that some people have left, so please let those people know as well. Thank you for coming. I have written down everything that everyone has said, and I will be sitting down with the supervisor as soon as he gets back, and we're going to sit down and we're going to discuss this. As I said, I spoke with him tonight, and he has committed to coming in, and we're gonna take a look at all the details, take a look at what happened, take a look at what, if any, what the county's options are. Until we know what all the details are, and until we know what led to this, I can't give anyone any information that they're looking for as far as what are the next steps going to be. Right now, what I can commit to is working with the supervisor to see what our options are. I can commit to, being your point of contact. So I definitely do not have enough business cards. I can assure you of that. But what I can tell you is that my contact information is on the county website. If you go to the county website, go under Board of Supervisors, click on Supervisor Horsley's page, you'll see a tab that says staff. You can click on that. You'll have my direct line. You will also get my email. I can also talk to the MCC about putting Supervisor Horsley's district number on, as well as my my contact on their website. And please, I know there's a change.org petition, but also please, if you have not sent an email with your concerns, with your questions, please send those. Until I am able to sit down with Supervisor Horsley, until I'm able to sit down with County Council, I can't commit to anything else.
If there's going to be another meeting and it's agendized, can they have it at a bigger location?
You'd have to discuss that with the MCC.
I know, but that's my suggestion.
That you guys kind of heard you guys heard the request, and what I can also do is bring back to the supervisor that everyone would like to have another meeting, and if we're able to make that happen, I hope all of you are able to come. I hope you guys can all tell your neighbors and have them come. Like I said, right now that's the best I can commit to. But for those who have had the opportunity to meet Supervisor Horsley, to work with Supervisor Horsley, he's very passionate about the coast side. he's very proud to represent all of you. And so I know that this is going to be a top priority for him, as it is for you guys.
Nicholas, once there is information to be communicated, once you have spoke with Supervisor Horsley, there's some sort of a plan, what path will the communication take? Because, so for example, there were a few people who said they didn't know until tonight that there was a meeting. So I'm just trying to figure out a way that the communication could have a hierarchy. Neil, do you want to coordinate?
Yeah.
Look at how he volunteered.
Hey, there you go.
Problem solved.
Hey, Mark, I have to say, what we need is a community center. We need a place.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. I'm a full dude.
And we can disseminate information over there.
So Laura.
On Marauder Road, what number is that?
Ouch, ouch. Laura?
I'd like to say one thing. I think that would probably be really important.
You have to come up to the microphone.
I don't have a speaker's slip. It just occurred to me right now. There are places that MCC could have another place to meet. It would not be free, but I think this is important enough that I think it would be worth MCC to pay for someplace else to meet. But it's bigger and can accommodate people. So.
Thank you.
Laura, I'd like to suggest that we open up a page on our website that keeps the information going, and then people can go there. So as soon as Nicholas gets something, not only can we put his and Supervisor Horsley's contact information up there, but as information comes out, we can get that up on the Midcoast Community Council website and use that for now as a coordinating until. I mean, I don't want to pin it on your back, but I mean.
Anytime I
Neil,
get any information at all, I'll give it straight to Lisa, and I'll put it up on Montana Blog, and I'll give it to review. Any information we get, we're going to get out as quick as we get it.
I think Lisa wants to comment.
Oh, yeah, I do the website, midcoastcommunitycouncil.org. There is a menu item called Contact and a submenu Elected Officials, and you click Don Horsley and you'll get to the page Nicholas was talking about. And also on our homepage we have Focus Topics, and I guess this is going to be a new Focus Topic, so it'll be right there,
There we go.
the latest info on the homepage.
Go ahead.
Nicholas, I appreciate you committing to briefing Supervisor Horsley, but I feel that I need to say that this is such an emotional topic that I would ask you to please relay the question to Supervisor Horsley. It's very easy to listen to each testimony of the public online, and I don't think that an hour's time or an hour and 20 minutes time is too much to ask our supervisor to hear from the community and to see the tears and to see the children standing next to the parents. So I think that that's, in my opinion, the least that our supervisor could do in this matter, and I really doubt that anybody would disagree.
I just want, when they asked you what the next steps were, one thing that wasn't talked about is I believe that the actual title transfer doesn't happen for 60 days, so that means sometime within the next end of September, early October, there's a possibility that until that final paperwork goes through, that things might be able to be done after county council talks to it, but is that sort of the time frame? There's roughly 60 days from when the sale went at the end of July to the end of September?
I would have to talk with county council, just because when they say stuff like that, it's like, usually it could be phrased either up to 60 days or I don't know how the wording is. So I don't want to tell you guys, yeah, that's right, and that we have until this time frame, and then next thing you know, I was wrong and I gave you guys inaccurate information, and then something bad happened. I'm really trying to avoid giving any false information tonight, and so I apologize if it doesn't seem like I'm being very detailed, but I really don't want to give you guys the wrong information. The other thing is, we did have a sign-in sheet where people were asked to put down their email address, and I know you guys have like an email list, is that correct? Mm-hmm. So if everyone's all right with it, we can put those emails on, I don't know who I'm signing up for work here, but I apologize. If we can put those emails on that email list, and then in addition to undoubtedly word getting out through the community, you'll also receive an email with the agenda that will tell you, hey, on this night at this time, this is what's being discussed at the Midcoast Community Council meeting. It'll tell you that Supervisor Horsley will be here, and it'll give you all those great details. So if everyone who signed up with that is all right, if we can put you on that list, I think that's one more level of communication. Not to say that that's going to be the only one, but it provides one more level.
Where is that email list?
I'm not sure.
It's out there.
Okay.
It's going around somewhere. So
keep an eye on it.
So make sure that you're on that list. I think that's also important too, if you haven't seen it.
And that your email address is legible, please.
Yeah, that's always good.
No spam.
There's a gentleman in the orange shirt keeps raising his hand. Laura?
Excuse me, do I need to come to the microphone?
Yeah, please, just so everyone can hear.
Nick, I appreciate all your comments and your looking into this matter. I feel like it seems open-ended right now. It seems like there might be an more urgent time frame. It'd be really nice to have a commitment from the supervisor's office within the next few days is when we can actually have a meeting with him regarding this matter. It seems like it's urgent.
Absolutely, and I completely understand and agree about the time sensitivity of this matter. I can't commit to anything until I talk to the supervisor, and so. But once I am able to talk to him, which at the latest will be Tuesday, hopefully we'll be able to get to him earlier. I'm hoping maybe if we can't do this by person, him and I might be able to touch base on a phone conversation, maybe tomorrow night. He's in conferences all day. So hopefully I'll be able to get something to you guys sooner than Tuesday, but I'm going to get it as soon as I can. I fully understand the time sensitivity of this matter. It wasn't too long ago that I myself was playing at the local parks, so I fully understand the importance. So I fully understand how important a park is to the community, and I see the passion, I see the importance of it. I know that if this was going on where I was from, my parents would be here doing the same thing. So, I understand, and I will bring this back as soon as I can.
Nicholas, is there a chance before he gets back?
Sid, it has to be at the microphone.
I already have my speaker slope, so you know who I am. Is there any chance that before Supervisor Horsley gets back, that you're able to maybe touch base with the county assessor and see if there's any kind of restitution or reclaiming period that we need to get on right away? Because, you wait a week, that's eating into the time, and maybe you can do some legwork in the meantime, talk to county council a little bit and talk to the tax guy that put it up for tax auction.
Yeah, I have a meeting with county council tomorrow.
Good.
I've met with county council several times today, several times yesterday.
Oh, you did?
I have a meeting scheduled. Yes. It's been top of the list. Our attorneys have seen me more than they ever wanted to, and I have a meeting scheduled with them tomorrow.
Well, I think the whole community would appreciate it if you could find out what the steps are that we can take and get the ball rolling. That's the important thing, that everybody's here to help ask you to get back to us as soon as possible.
Absolutely.
Okay, in line with that, I want to ask the council, one of our learned directors from GSD has left me a note here that if we wanted to take action on this tonight, that we could add it as an urgency item. And he would provide the necessary motions, and he's here now to inform us.
If you wanted to do that, you would have to make two findings. One, that it came to the attention of the council after the agenda was posted, and two, that action is required before your next regular meeting. And so the motion would be to make those two findings, and then a second motion, if the first one passes, the second motion would be to add it to the agenda as an urgency item.
I so move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
However, do we want to handle this right now, or do we want to put it to the, while everyone is here, do we want to put it to the end of the agenda? Should we do it now?
We
or
might as well
at the
do it
end
while
of the
they're here.
agenda? Right
I
now?
would vote for doing it now while they're here.
Okay. I need somebody to repeat those words that Leonard said, because I couldn't write fast
So
enough.
the first motion is a motion to say that the item did not come to our attention before the agenda was posted, which is true. I know I didn't see Neil's letter till after Sunday when we posted. And the second motion was that it's of great urgency, and we need to take the matter at hand tonight before our next meeting. Obviously, we don't know what the time frame is, so I would also move that that is also important.
What kind of action does the council want to take?
If I could speak.
Please, go ahead.
I think the only action that we can take at this time is, well, we can write up a formal letter after this, but just reiterate what we heard tonight from the council, and that what I heard, I think most people are asking for is what possibilities are there to rectify the situation so that we don't lose the park is the number one idea, number one purpose. Then the second one was how do we prevent it from happening again? What went wrong? How can we have it rectified so that in the future these steps will be more public so that people would know? But I think the number one thing is that the park gets saved. And at all due costs, even if we have to twist the arm of the county to get whatever other funds we'll need. But, and then there was other suggestions that came up about Montera and all that, which would take a little bit longer to figure out all the ramifications, just like we're doing tonight with GSD. But I think the most immediate is the most immediate is to figure out if it's at all possible. Okay, yeah, the most immediate thing is to figure out if at all possible, is there any way to undo the transaction? If we're not unable to undo it to any legality, then I think the next step would be to find out, is there some way that we could figure out how to retransact it, or, you know, reconvey, yeah, thanks.
Can I pull you in a little?
Yeah. Okay.
I guess the first thing...
I'm just trying to throw them all out there. I don't know where you want
I
to go.
appreciate, yeah, I mean, I know, we're sort of coming from a lot of things in our mind. My first priority would be, and you mentioned it, is we somehow need to convey via letter. This is, we need action like now, immediately, yesterday. I don't know specifically what action Supervisor Horsley needs to take. And I don't know how to put that into a motion, but I would like to see a letter that conveys that with no ifs, ands, or buts. Not yet, Hunter? Okay. That's number one, and I think that the issues that you bring up, and those are some of the same questions that have been asked, those could be asked within the correspondence. Sure. And these are, you know, we want this acted on immediately. Here are a few of the issues that we want addressed. Clearly, those don't need to be addressed immediately, but something, it's save the park part, no matter what we need to do, what he has to do, needs to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think we have to clean it up before we get into a letter.
Just a little.
I mean, we're dancing around it, but yeah, it's like, how do you save the park? That's the first bullet.
Save the park, urgency.
Then what does it take? Let them tell us, because I don't know. If legal counsel, county legal counsel looks into it and there's no legal course, then, you know, it's just lawsuit city and everybody throws away money and nothing will happen and we'll eventually win. I think Neil sort of hinted at it when he first spoke. If it is a legal transaction, then we need to work with the buyer and figure out a way to undo it. Maybe he'll go for just the 8,000 that would need. Maybe he wants to.
We can't go there ourselves yet.
No. I'm saying, but those are all. I mean, those are things we don't know yet. The only thing we can ask the county to do right now is to see if they can save it and what steps need to be taken to save it. And we need legal opinion on that.
Go ahead.
I don't see how we can become anywhere near close to as eloquent as the people who have already spoken, and we fully support this. And I would suggest that we just appoint a committee, perhaps Len and Neil, to do the follow-up and track this closely and report back. And
great idea.
I don't see how you could. I mean, you could listen to this video and pull out the most moving points and pieces and put it in a letter, but it's been heard.
Yeah.
And the record is there on the tape. And so perhaps a committee to, that's all I have to say.
I support the idea of a committee. I'll put a motion on the table to create a committee.
So we have another motion here?
Oh, we have another motion? Urgency?
I would like to recommend, following what Lisa said, that merely a single sentence virtually that says, we review this, we believe this matter, the preservation of Moss Beach Park, is a matter of the highest urgency on the coast. And as several people suggested, just by referring to the video minutes of the meeting, you have as much comment as is necessary. I don't think we can be more eloquent, and I don't think we need to go longer than that. I would certainly, support the notion of a committee or some people who are chartered with action there. I did want to, I'm going to make one other comment on this while we have people who are really interested in the issue there, because I also have on the agenda item number 1. It relates to improvements of the Fairlawn View playfield, and it refers to funds, $125,000 that were allocated by the community for that improvement project some 5 years ago. I don't want to go into the details too much of it, but I was going to withdraw the item from today's meeting for practical reasons. We've really run out of time to do it. We have other park-related matters. And 2, this $125,000, which is really for parks in the Moss Beach and Fairlawn View area, is money that the community paid for over the last 10 or 15 years. And so its use, really, you don't want to get into talking about that amount of money while you have one of your most critical parks in jeopardy. So just sort of take that off. But those are monies you put in. There's another $50,000 for the restroom that was discussed here. Again, this is community money to improve the park. So if you also listen as people talked about, they talked about parks powers for Granada Sanitary District. They talked about parks powers for the Montero Water and Sanitary District. You might have gotten something of a headache listening to all those things, or even what I was trying to explain, but that's the nature of parks on the coast. So while this is a matter of highest urgency, protect the coast, you would be well advised to join all of us to try to figure out what to do beyond that, so you actually have an apparatus that can keep the parks in operation, and is complex as well. So that was by way of explanation. When you see item 1 drop from the agenda, and it does relate to some substantial funds that would go for parks type activity, that's why it was dropped. And beyond that, I support the 1-sentence letter plus a committee.
Well, say the sentence again.
The Community Council feels that the preservation of Moss Beach Park is a matter of highest urgency on the Midcoast. And please take necessary actions and report back.
Sounds good to me. Can we get a vote?
Lauren?
I had a question before we take a vote. What do you see, Lisa, as the positives of a committee? You mentioned a committee.
Well, we don't have all the answers here tonight, and we're not in a position to say, fix it this way or that way. I mean, we've established the urgency, the need, and the passion on this issue, and it just needs to be closely followed up, apparently by the hour. And so it seemed like with the 2 people, and my thought was Neil and Len, that that would be useful, rather than you getting a million calls or whatever.
Any discussion?
Could I just add on a suggested, to tag on to this action, is that tonight there was, very eloquent words from the community on how they feel. I suspect that there's a lot more members out there in the community that were not able to make it here tonight that feels equally as strong as the folks in this room.
Okay, right now, Dan, we're on committee.
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I'm getting there. So my suggestion is, if I think, Lisa, you mentioned earlier about having some box on the website that could help organize the community and get the voice louder and get the voice better connected, so that the voice comes to full amplification, so that the county hears it all.
Okay.
Now, I'm not sure the committee might be able to do that. Some adjustments to the website to allow community members to sign an online petition. I'm not sure what the best way, but my vision is to help the community get organized.
Okay, what we have right now is we have basically a 1-sentence letter that we'll be sending that was just discussed. The second issue on the table is whether or not we want to have a committee to help organize the communication. First of all, Len, Lisa mentioned you. Do you have an interest in that?
Yes.
Okay.
Does Neil have an interest?
We don't care.
Or do you propose anybody else?
Any way I can.
Well, it just seemed like that way we have, you met with people
Yeah,
yesterday.
I'll be doing it with Len, whether it's a
Len's
committee
on-
or not.
All right, well, let's do that.
So is this going to be an official committee of the Midcoast Community Council?
Yeah, ad hoc.
Okay, could I have a motion?
Shouldn't we
Vote on the letter first.
vote the letter? and
Want
then
the
make a
letter
decision?
first?
Do the
Well,
letter
we already
first.
made a motion to do the letter, so.
Oh, no, I mean, I assume you have that motion, but I need a motion for the committee as well. That's what I'm asking
No, but
for.
shouldn't you close the first one?
Oh, you want to close it first? Okay.
It's just easier and on the minute taker.
Lisa, do you want to read the motion, please?
I have the wording, I have the one sentence.
Yeah, that's fine.
We believe preservation of Moss Beach Park is a matter of highest urgency on the Mid-Coast.
So the motion is to provide this in writing to Supervisor Horsley, is that correct?
Yes.
You send an email.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right, so the motion passes? Are we all clear on that? Everyone's clear? Okay. Now, the second item is that I need a motion on is forming a official MCC committee with the purpose of preserving the Moss Beach Park.
Let me qualify that. Let me try to qualify that. That we form an ad hoc committee to, Len, you do it. What's the committee? What's the committee going to do?
To form an ad hoc committee to follow up with the county on matters relating to the preservation of Moss Beach Park.
Wow.
And inform the local community of it on a timely basis.
On matters, what? Preservation?
Relating to the preservation of Moss Beach Park. And to keep the community informed of the steps.
Moss Beach Park.
Our website, material file.
Okay.
The usual suspects. Email chains.
Is everybody clear on the motion?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye. Wait, Aye.
There's public
Leonard has been trying to speak also.
I wanted to speak on your other motion before you voted on it, and that's required by the Brown Act.
I don't have a speaker slip. I'm steering a bill here. I have no problem with anybody speaking. Leonard, you want to go first?
I want your other letter to be reconsidered because the language I think you need to put in it should say that the Midcoast Council is formally requesting the county to take any possible action necessary to reacquire the park. The text as you approved it is too weak. You need to specifically request the county take any and all possible actions necessary to reacquire the park. And by the way, this is actually the second time this has happened on the coast side. This is not the first time. The first time happened in the early 90s when the Harbor District sold Quarry Park to a developer, and the county stepped in and bought it.
Take any action necessary.
So we have a precedent. You just said that.
Thank you, Leonard.
Early 90s.
Catherine?
Thank you. Before you vote on this, are there going to be members of, a certain number of members of the public involved in this committee?
I think Neil's a member of the public.
My intent was that we had these two key people, these meetings would be entirely open. I mean, that they would, whatever's needed, you know, I mean, they can be.
But only two people would be making decisions?
From the MCC.
No, these aren't decisions, these are
Can I just
people
speak to this?
to be goading them on.
Hey, as
And
a
disseminating
longtime member of the
information.
council, can I explain how a committee works, please? The committee will basically have to come back and report to the council on what they discover at these meetings or through their contact with the county. And that's why I added to the back of it that it has to be done on a timely basis. That's how the committees were formed, that's what's in the bylaws. So the two of them, we don't need 25 people going to the supervisor's office. We have two, that's our checks and balances. They report back, we make sure everybody knows.
Thank you.
They can't take any action until it's brought to the
Right,
council.
exactly. There's no action, the council has to take the action. And we have to do that in public, and the public gets to speak when they wear their heads.
Go ahead.
Leonard requested a rehearing of the motion. I'd like to keep the way it is. Part of the reason is we wanted to use the phrase reacquire, I don't think it's a matter where the reacquiring applies because the county didn't own it in the first place. And so preservation is as broad a term as I could think of to get the job done. I mean, it's-
Okay, and did we vote on the committee?
No, you want me to read the motion?
Please.
I hope I have it. I move we form an ad hoc committee to follow up with the county on matters relating to preservation of Moss Beach Park and keep the community informed. Is that covered?
Yes, all those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? The motion passes. Okay. Thank you all for coming. You're certainly welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting.
Oh, can we, before you all leave, I know this is totally anticlimactic, but we're still actually in public comment, and I had a couple of announcements to make.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If I scroll back in my
I'm moving right
minutes
ahead here.
I also had a comment.
Thank you so much. That you might want to hear. Okay. The County Parks Commission is having a special meeting on Devil Slide Trail plans tomorrow night at 6:30 to 8:30. No, at 7 o'clock, Cypress Meadows in Moss Beach. And the Plan Princeton Visioning Workshop is Thursday, September 12th, 6:30 to 8:30 at Oceano Hotel.
Thursday, September 12th.
Thursday, September 12th. And also check the planprinceton.com website. You can fill out a survey there, and that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa.
Oh, don't close that door.
Okay, we're going to move on to the consent agenda.
I wanted to add a public comment as well.
Oh, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Did we lose Nicholas?
He's out there talking to,
Probably talking to people.
do you want to take a couple
Well, I
minutes?
wanted
break
him to
so we
be
can,
present when the
Can
comment.
we-
Maybe we could take a short break.
Yeah, let's take a
That'd be a good
2
time.
minutes.
Okay, how
We're
short
gonna
would you
lose
like it?
everybody.
3 minutes.
3-minute break.
To quarter up, 3 minutes.
I guess when Nicholas returns.
We'll go poke Nicholas. Steve, we're on a 3-minute break. Turn the camera off so I can speak for you.
Wilderness guy. Oh, hi, nice to meet you.
Thanks for coming.